Okay, we are going to talk about how to build wealth quietly, how to plan it, how to start, how to manifest it, how to envision it for yourself. I'm going to share a framework that I've built for myself in order to reach my goals. And this framework is heavily built on the foundation of discipline. And discipline is not easy, it doesn't come easily for other people. That's why it's not going to be easy. But life is not fair. Everybody has a different starting line, and it's up to you to make that single sole decision to change your life. Nobody else is going to make that decision for you. In this framework, you can take the idea and customize it. This is just what works for me, and I know that there are other people who are going to make use of this guideline. So first rule that I've set for myself is to simplify your life. And what that means is just removing all of the excess things in your life, especially when it comes down to your income and your money. So what I do is I visualize my finances. As soon as income comes, I track where it goes, even the deductions. I live in the US, so I have these automatic deductions on my paycheck that go straight to my retirement savings and all of that. So I track them also because I want to know how much is being taken out of my income and going straight to these savings accounts. I try to practice living a minimalist lifestyle, and that helps me a lot in working towards my goals because it makes it so much easier. You don't have to practice minimalism at all. It's just as simple as eliminating all of the things that are not necessary, knowing the difference between your wants and your needs. If I can get my bills down to double digits, I will do it. There's no reason for me to be paying $100 for Wi-Fi when I'm not even home most of the time because I'm out working. So it makes sense for me to reduce my Wi-Fi package to the most basic, cheapest package. Another thing is, as a girl, I don't buy a lot of skincare. I don't buy a lot of face mask. I don't really invest in beauty like most girls, and that's just a personal preference. I'd rather take my 10K walks. I'd rather eat healthily than put money into all of these lab produced products to put into my body and maintain health and beauty. I just think that you could have a really simple lifestyle and achieve the things that you want. Like, I do the natural remedies if I can. And if I end up having a bad skin, then I just deal with it because it's normal. That's also a really good mental health practice because you are trying to fight against the stigma of girls having acne, girls having zits and pimples, having a bad skin, having a bad hair day, having dark circles. It's all part of life. And so I've taken the easy way out and I've decided to embrace it. So that is one way that I try to simplify my life, is that I try to reduce purchasing all of these beauty products. I don't do my nails. I don't have facial treatments every month, every week. I don't do any of that because I choose to invest my money in something else. Basically, how I started doing this is I looked deeply into the things that I want, into the things that I can't live without. The life that I have right now, I stripped every single layer and really looked deeply into what my core needs. What is it that I need every day? What are the things in my life that fulfill me? And for me, that's just simply spending time with my family, my friends, going to work nourished and with a good, stable mind. And that is all I need. I don't need to keep up with the trends. And that's also one thing. Part of simplifying your life is not being so involved in the social media world, because the reason why people live in excess these days is because it's a trend, because people are always setting these new trends every single second of the day to get people to consume. We are the consumer group, so we are targeted all the time with these ads. Every time you click on your phone, there's already an algorithm set for you that is designed to make you buy something. You can't blame them because it's all business, you know, it's part of the game. So all you can do is build the discipline for yourself not to fall prey to these social standards. Simplify your life, try to keep it minimal, try to keep it natural. There's no reason to go above and beyond and live a life that you don't actually have. The last thing you want is to be buying all these designer things and it doesn't represent or reflect your bank account at all. I think that is the opposite of the goal that you're striving, the person you're trying to become. It's opposite of the life that you actually want to live. Once you've simplified your life, next comes self-isolation. And this is something that I just learned recently through listening to podcasts. And this works very well for introverted people, but if you're not, it's gonna be pretty tough because you want to be out all the time, you want to socialize, you want to go out for meals, you want to buy that beverage, that coffee, that matcha. It's going to be difficult, but like I said, if you want to get from point A to point B, you have to do the work. I mean, there's two ways to go about this. Either you stay the traditional conventional route and you dream about your dream life forever, or you make it happen. Part of the self-isolation rule for me is to only go out by invite. And this doesn't have to be strict at all. Again, what we're prioritizing is your mental fitness. And you don't have to deprive yourself of all the joy in the life just to get to the wealth, to the success. You just have to have the discipline to incentivize the things that you want in order to make yourself work. We do this a lot in psychology. We've talked about the reward system, right? If you want something, it's a classic move to give yourself a reward in order to motivate yourself. There are two types of motivation. There's intrinsic and extrinsic. And so for the self-isolation part, I am using extrinsic motivation because even though I already like to stay home, but sometimes I do want to go out and splurge on myself. And the way that this framework is built for me is that I only go out on the times where I actually need it, where I actually know that I deserve it. This might be controversial, but this is just what's acceptable for me and what's good for me because I know that I am easily tempted to spend money. So I'm holding myself accountable the extreme way. Every week I try to dedicate at least one of the weekends to go out and go on my 10K walks, take out the dogs for a walk, grab myself a matcha or something. I do that just to keep my sanity. It's also good for my confidence. If you've gotten the flow, I'm big on moderation, simplicity, and balance. You'll eventually notice that yes, there might be some extremes, but for me, that's not an extreme. It's just the range of my capabilities. Yeah, self-isolation. Learn to enjoy your own company. Having a partner, having an outgoing friend group is what's going to drain your bank account. Trust me. And so all of the singles, they have a better control of their finances because they're not obligated to go out every single week. They're not invited to all these things. That ties back to the simplicity is that to limit your circle or reduce your circle to only a number of people so that you don't have to feel pressure to go out all the time. And if you surround yourself with a bunch of introverted people, you're not really going to be going out every single week. You're going to be going out once a month. And so that's another trick that you can use. Another part of self-isolation for me is that I have gotten rid of my social media. The only social media that I use is VSCO. But other than that, if you count YouTube as a social media, then yeah. But I don't really go on it. I see it more as entertainment to rejuvenate for the next day. So I wouldn't really count it as social media, at least for myself, since I'm not super obsessed with it. Um, but I also have TikTok, but I have my notifications off for TikTok because I know that I would go on it every time that I feel bored. And so, and I also don't have it on my home screen so that I don't see it as soon as I open my phone. And so I only really use TikTok whenever I want to. And so that gives me the power and the control over where I put my attention. So yeah, you get rid of all the distractions, social media, people that don't deserve your time and attention, eliminate them, or at least for now. Just tell them that you're on an self-isolation journey and you're trying to build a life for yourself. You have goals and you have dreams and you have a purpose. That's all you have to say. You don't need to explain to them what it is. That's also part of the manifestation part. Is that don't tell everyone your plans all the time. This is something that I've actually learned from my male friends. I notice that guys tend to move silently. They tend to move in incognito. You know, they don't really like to tell other people their plans on how to build their dream life because I actually don't know why. But one reason that I could think of is that for females, they don't like to share their plans because they don't want the universe or the bad energy to catch onto it and ruin it, right? You don't want to share it to the wrong people and all of a sudden have all these obstacles along the way that you didn't plan for, you didn't foresee, just because you ended up spilling your game plan to the wrong person. So that's one way why you should keep your game plan to yourself. But also, when it comes to discipline, it's really all about you and your mental. That is the whole concept of discipline. The battle is between you and your alter ego. So eliminate all of the distractions and self-isolate. Be comfortable in your own company because at the end of the day, you're the only person you're going to bed with, you and your thoughts. So learn to be alone. Yeah, staying off the internet because, like I said, it's full of consumerism trap. The last thing you want if you have a financial goal is to fall prey to all of the ads and the algorithm that's been built for you. Another thing is to focus on your own metric of success. So when I started building this framework for myself, I really had to question my goals. I wanted to know where it's coming from, if it's coming from pressure, if it's coming from the expectations that people have set upon me or that I've set upon myself. I really wanted to make sure that the goals that I've set for myself is not something that's going to be unsatisfying for me as soon as I reach that goal. I want it to be rewarding. And this is a conversation that you have to have for yourself. I'm big on being self-aware and learning to have those conversations with yourself. And I've mentioned a couple times in my channel, in my podcast, studying yourself. You are the biggest project of your life. You're who you need to focus on. You're the one that needs to have the biggest growth at the end of your timeline. Stop wasting your time focusing on petty drama, the end of a relationship that doesn't need to take up 2 years of your life. Everybody has different values, different priorities, so you really have to ask yourself, what is it that matters to you? We've talked about in the first point to simplify your life and to look deeply into your core identity, into what fulfills your life and what makes it meaningful, what makes you want to go on and keep living. Your answer to that is what you should be focusing when you start this journey. After graduating, I've kind of set my path towards a higher degree. I was talking to one of my mentee a couple days ago about this actually. I was set to go to grad school after my undergrad, but I've decided to put a hold on that and to stop pursuing it temporarily because I have my priorities. And people around me have made me feel guilty about this, but you just have to stay strong. People can say these things to you, and that's out of your control. The only thing you can control is how you perceive those comments and how you handle them. How do you own up to your own power? How do you own up to your own life and your decisions and stand for what it is that you think is right for you? Even though it was hard to change my career path, you really have to look deeply into who you are as a person. And this is discipline that I'm talking about, because it's not easy to shut off and quiet down all of those outer voices in your mind. And we've all grown up internalized with different beliefs, and it really takes a lot of mental to break away from the things that you've learned growing up. That doesn't mean that it's impossible. That's where following this framework and this guideline comes, because it's set to really get to know yourself and get to know your goals, so that you're not going into this journey blindsided with a false belief that this is what you actually want, where it's not. Do not waste your time anymore. We're not here for so long. You really have to wake up into the reality and focus on what matters. Don't focus on other people's journey, because that's their own battle to fight. Your time is a resource. Every second that you spend paying attention to other people's life is a second you're taking away from achieving your dream life. Be very mindful of how you spend your time, where you pour your energy to, who you connect with socially, things that you watch on the internet. Very, very important that you surround yourself with people who align with your values. Fourth point is to invest in yourself. During this self-isolation period, what you really want to do is to create the time that you've never had for yourself before. I have a very odd perception of time where it always feels like it's running out for me. So I have this huge pressure to get to where I need to be, which is why I'm doing this whole experience, this whole journey of holding myself accountable. I've set up the logistics for myself also, and that's part of the planning, which I forgot to mention in it's in the self-isolation point, is that during your self-isolation you should be planning, you should be setting deadlines for yourself and daily habits on your calendar, so that you don't fall behind and you keep yourself on track to reach your goal. I would rather grind myself out for 2 years and push myself to the extent that I've never pushed myself to before, than wait years until I get to my dream life. I'd rather expedite the journey and get there as soon as I can. You should be planning how long do you want this journey for you? How ideal is it for you to self-isolate for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years? It all depends on your own circumstance. That's why I highly encourage to do an individualized plan. The things that I'm talking about here is just guidelines for you to follow, but at the end of the day, you're the one who needs to create the plan for yourself, because we're all different and we all have different priorities, different metric of success, different values. So those are the things that you need to focus on. It's a homework that you have to put on yourself. When you are off social media, off the internet, you're going to find yourself so much time, and what you do with that time is really vital and important, because that is the time to work on yourself. Besides all of your responsibilities in 24 hours, the rest, when you're off hours, is the time that matters. How are you going to fill that time? How are you going to hold yourself accountable? Really, what's going to make a difference? Those are the moments that's going to build discipline in you. This is the only time you have the luxury of focusing on yourself. So invest in yourself. Learn a new language. It's always so important, and it's also proven in research, I believe, that people who speak more than one language is more attractive, and people who are bilingual are smarter than average. It makes sense. You are able to code switch between languages as you're speaking, and that takes a lot of mental effort to use one word from another language to another. So learn a language, pick up a new hobby. In terms of health, go to the gym. Choose your fitness method. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. For me, I tried so hard to get into weights, but it was just not for me, and I decided to accept the reality that even though a lot of my friends do lift weights, it's just not for me. I do low impact workouts. I do my walks. You just have to listen to your body. But what's most important is to do something active. You can't just stay stationary and be rotting in your bed all day. In order to maintain your health, you've got to be moving. Just choose something. If it's running, go run. Walking, go walk. If it's gardening, go farm. If you like playing sports, just do that. As long as you're maintaining it, you're doing something active every single day. Knowledge. So you have to stay sharp. Just because you're done with school doesn't mean that you're free of homework, you're free of reading and studying. No. One way to gain success is by educating yourself in the field that you enjoy. So I really enjoy psychology. And after graduating, I found myself not touching psychology articles for some time. But that's not how it should be, because the point is you just stay knowledgeable in one area. As long as you're an expert in something, that is enough. You don't want to be just an average person. Not that being an average person is a bad thing. But again, this video is how to build wealth, power, and success. Also, it's an ego booster if people know you as an expert on something. You are the one person that they're going to go to. Own up a topic, a subject, and really learn it and become the expert. So invest in your health, invest in your knowledge, and the third thing is to invest in your relationships. You are made up of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So it's very important that whoever you spend time with are people that really fulfill your soul. So important to be selective of the relationships that you go into. I'm not saying to stop talking to everybody just because you don't match their energy. There are levels to it. At work, I am respectful, I am cordial to the people that I work with, but that doesn't mean that we've established anything personal, because like I said, who you spend time with makes a lot of difference into the person you're building. So be selective in who you let into your circle and who you share your conflicts with, who you seek help from, because that's really going to influence the way that you make decisions and the way that you navigate your own relationships. So choose carefully. The 5th point is the manifestation part. And I am very new to the whole concept, but I am doing my own research. I am listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of affirmation videos, and I think what I'm getting out of it is just repetitive loop, basically training your mind to have the abundance mindset. It's to harness the power of the belief, the delusion that you are set to receive all the wealth, success, and power in the world, and nobody can stop you. It's having that almost narcissistic confidence that you are going to get what you want. That's a shift in your energy that's basically going to attract those things to you. Your mind is a free range farm. It's so easy to think of things. What really matters is putting it into action. The imagination part is also very important, because that's what sets the atmosphere, what sets your mood for the entire day, which is going to affect your behavior. If in your mind you're always thinking, oh, like I'm broke, or I don't have the money for this, those are limiting beliefs. And you don't want to have those. When you have an abundant mindset, all of those things are naturally going to come to you. For some weird reason, I don't know what it is. It's just an energy thing. It's having that belief that you are set for bigger things. That is what's going to motivate you to keep working. It's what's going to inspire you to think of new things. Your mind is literally your power. So learn to harness the power of your mind and to feed it with nutritional, high quality information, because you don't want to be intoxicating your mind with all of these negative thoughts, because that's only going to manifest outwardly. It's just constantly repeating to yourself that you're meant for bigger things and you have all of these traits that you dream of. It's embodying that life that you want for yourself, because there's no other way. That's going to be your life. That's your life now. A couple of tips as you're starting this journey is to always be 10 steps ahead. Always plan. There always has to be a conversation with you and your mind. How can we make this better? How can we improve this? What can we do differently? How do we get there faster? Because during the self-isolation period, you should be learning all the time, every day. You should be feeding yourself with information on how to get to where you want to be. That is the whole point of self-isolating yourself and sacrificing time with your friends and your partner or whatever, is to pour that time to yourself. And you better make use of it. Don't half-ass it. Pour yourself, dedicate yourself, commit to the game, and enjoy the time that you'll have later on. Your luxurious life can wait. You just have to put in the work for 2-3 years. Stay humble. Nothing is promised. You may have a temporary taste of what it's like to live your dream life, but that doesn't mean that you stop working. It's a life practice. It's the first test. Can you really handle this amount of abundance? If you fail in that first test, you're gonna have to start from square one. So really hold yourself accountable. Put yourself in a higher pedestal, that you are somebody who has higher qualities, higher traits, desirable traits, have a gravitational energy when it comes to money, relationships, time, just having that gravitational pull in yourself, and it all comes from within. You can't find it somewhere else outside of you. No, it's gotta be all here and here. Try not to cultivate envy from other people, because that's only going to make your life miserable. It's only going to create more problems than necessary. So like I said, stay humble and stay quiet. Nobody needs to know every step of your game plan. Keep it to yourself, because only you and your inner voice is going to be enjoying it at the end of the tunnel. Become best friends with your inner voice, with yourself. Last tip. As soon as you start this journey, you're going to notice that people are going to comment on the way that you are living your life. If you are declining invitations, you're going to get comments, and that's inevitable, but it's also a test for you and your current friendship. If they find it hard to accept, or if they're resistant, or they're not supportive of the changes that you're making in your life, they are not meant to be there. You need to go. You have to get rid of the people that are going to bring more problems to this journey. It's the last thing that you want. And like I said, the more you get comfortable with yourself and being alone, the less you're going to need people. I'm not advocating for becoming a loner, just to correct myself. I'm just advocating for the comfortability of being by yourself, because a lot of people are not capable of doing that. A lot of people are scared to be alone with their thoughts and to get to know themselves deeply. But that is the one thing that I highly recommend for everybody listening to this video. That is part of gaining the discipline. My videos always end in a ramble, even though I've listed everything so carefully, and I end up putting my phone down and I don't follow the bullet points that I've written for myself. Good luck with this journey. This video helped motivate you, get you started to start planning, get you excited, get you inspired, and you took something valuable out of this video, this ramble, but yes, best wishes to you. I know you're gonna get there.